Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here. A little bit croaky. Don't know why. I have just had my second COVID jab, but that's probably not related. Anyway, I just saw an indie world, and so did Xeon.
I did? That's what that was?
That's what that was, and I have a feeling that it was also witnessed by the eyeballs of John.
Ribbit. Oh, no, I'm croaky too.
Well, I can't say I'm disappointed. So yes, the Indie World has just happened. We're going to run through everything that was shown off. I've even made some notes, bloomin' heck, and we're going to talk about them, as is the time-honored tradition, and you're going to listen to it. Fingers crossed.
Yay, stick around, please. Thank you in advance.
So, shall we kick things off with the first thing they showed? That generally seems to be a good idea. We started off with Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which from the text I had to be very careful because I genuinely thought it was just Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So I'm glad I checked.
This was causing waves last year. It's a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio with the same composer, and the art style looks like straight out of the Dreamcast. And I remember this was causing a big wave on Twitter. So it's really cool to see it coming to Switch, but it's also a timed exclusive, right?
Yeah, a timed console exclusive coming out in 2022.
Sweet.
Yeah, this game looks absolutely insane. Like, if you told me that this was a Jet Set game, I would just give you money immediately. And even though that it's not, you know, it still has all of the charm and flair of that original series. I'm almost surprised that it actually is coming out. This is one of those weird scenarios where it's weird to see a large company like Nintendo promoting a game that is, I don't want to say, it's not ripping off Jet Set, because Sega's doing nothing with Jet Set right now, but
it's in Monkey Ball, Xeon.
Yeah.
You're right. I guess that's something.
Beats not in this game.
No, but doesn't it feel? It feels. I don't know. I'm so excited for this. It just feels so like, what a weird world we're living in right now, where Sega won't make one, so somebody else is, and Nintendo's like, don't worry, we got you, everybody. Yeah. We got you.
I really love the art style, because it looks like straight off the Dreamcast. I'm looking at this shot right now with the skateboard, and the wheels aren't circular. Like, they're hexagon wheels. I love that they've purposefully sort of made them low poly to kind of like recapture that look.
I hadn't even noticed that, I'm not going to lie. That's a really cool little feature.
I had no idea that the composer was actually the same person from the Jet Set series. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, it does just look full of style, though. I mean, obviously, it's wearing its inspirations on its sleeve, and I think that's okay. Because as Ian was saying, we've not had a Jet Set Radio game since the Xbox, since Future. So if Sega aren't going to do it, let's let these guys try it out.
Yeah. This developer does what Sega can't.
Got your Sega.
This is one of those games, too, for me, that I think if nothing else cool came out of the indie world, this would have been enough for me. But that's not the case, is it, guys?
No, there was a plethora.
Should we move on to number 2, because we've got quite a lot to get through as it happens.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the next game was Toem, a photo adventure, which is going to be fun to hear people pronounce. This is basically like a black and white Captain Toad kind of diorama type thing, where you take photographs, and most importantly, it has cats in it.
Looks charming as heck. When this first started, it was just kind of like this isometric perspective. I was like, okay, here we go. It's just another of that kind of cookie cutter kind of style. But then they took the camera out, and you can see it from a full 3D perspective, and that totally changed my view. Like, this looks really original, and just looks cozy as heckens.
Your favourite word, John, cozy.
Apparently so.
It reminds me, actually, in a weird way, of when you used to go into first person in Fez. I don't know whether you guys got that far. But just to be able to see something from such a wildly different perspective. And when something is so simple and blocky, then seeing it from a first-person point of view, it's kind of jarring, and I kind of love it.
I'm curious if either of you felt this, but when the main character walks up and they're like in the office and they're talking to the person at the desk and they say something like, "Whoa, you're a photographer," or like, "Whoa, you take photos," I felt instantly reminded of like Peter Parker walking into Mr. Jameson's office and being like, "Hey, you're good for something, huh?"
I thought you'd say that.
You're gonna get me photos of Spider-Man. That's probably the worst J. Jonah Jameson impression ever done, frankly.
At least you tried.
You sounded fine, Alex.
It's very sweet of you to say. It's coming out in autumn 2021.
Love me some autumn.
Moving on, we have Loop Hero, which When I first saw this, I was like, it's an RPG dungeon crawler, which is why that's the first line on my notes. And they showed a bit that said, this isn't gameplay, but it pretty much was. It's just been edited. But the thing is that you don't control the characters that are doing all the fighting and everything. You actually shape the world that they're in using like cards and things like that. And so depending on what you play and where, it's gonna change how do the things sort of happen. And in my mind, it's kind of a bit like a tower defense game in that sense, but in the sense that you want the, sort of the thing going around to actually survive.
I've heard really good things about this. This came out on PC, I think like back in February or March. So I know it's good. I know people are very positive about it, but I don't know, just seeing it, it's not really my thing, I don't think.
Yeah, the art style is really intriguing to me, but I'm not sure if it's my kind of game either. But just like you said, I've heard such good things about this from other people, so I imagine that lots of people are going to be stoked about this. And I was just happy to even see that it's coming to Switch. This seemed like one of those games. It came out earlier or whatever on PC, and it just felt like a good fit for Switch, and was just another one of those scenarios like why isn't this on Switch? And there we go. Now it's here.
The art style reminds me of NES box art and like Amiga box art and stuff.
Sure.
Only it's actually been able to be realized in the game rather than being replaced by... I mean, Atari was the worst for it, really, wasn't it, when you play as a square?
It looks like one of those games that you can't really... you can't describe. You can't say, it plays like this, because I can't think of anything that plays like that, which, that kind of diversity, that's kind of the best praise you can give a game.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, I suppose, a bit like Roller Coaster Tycoon, except completely different.
That should be on the back of the box.
Moving on, we have Far, Changing Tides. Now, did either of you play the previous game in the series? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this at all.
No,
they talked about it like as if it was this game that kind of swept the world or took the world by storm. But yeah, I've never heard of it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks good. The opening shot to me just looked like Little Inferno in Venice, or at least post-apocalyptic Venice. And yeah, I was getting... One of the games it reminded me of straight away was The Flame in the Flood, but it seems to be way more relaxed than that game, which is really not hard. It's a great game, but it's one of the most stressful games I've ever played.
We can, of course, trust Steam reviews, and according to them, the first game was very positive in reviews, so clearly we're just living in a bubble.
I'm curious if this game's going to follow just a straight path, or if there's going to be choice involved, because didn't The Flame in the Flood, I mean, I know these games are not connected, but was that game, did that have a lot of player choice in it, or was it more like, if you just failed, you had to try again and continue going?
It had a decent amount of choice, nothing like major, but I think some of it was maybe generated on the fly. I don't know that for certain, but
Sure.
Suffice it to say that I remember playing it once, dying, playing it again, and it didn't feel like it was the same.
Sure. That's always been one of those games that it's been on my list of things to play for a while. But yeah, like when the shot first opened of Far, it kind of reminded me of Little Nightmares 2, because there's a lot of like big cities that you see from a kind of a weird perspective, and so I was kind of getting vibes of that, or even not necessarily Limbo, but just games
Sure.
of that nature. So yeah, I wonder if it's going to be very story driven.
Yeah, it reminded me of Inside.
Oh sure.
Yeah, totally getting
A
those
little
vibes.
bit, just in its style. Next up, we have Necro Barista Final Pour, which I didn't realize this is until they mentioned it quite late into the thing. This is a remake. Again, it's a game I've never heard of, but it seems to be anime characters and inexplicably Commander Video.
Yeah, it's actually Commander Video, because it looks just like him.
They didn't say it was Commander Video, but I was just like, hang on, is that Commander
Yeah.
Video?
Is that from BitTrip? Commander Video?
Yeah.
I see that. But as a barista instead?
Yeah, or a customer. I don't know his role. I haven't played the game.
Yeah, I think the story was saying, right, that basically it sounds like you're playing as somebody who's running this coffee shop, but all these people have died, and they're coming here to hang out for their last night on, I don't know if it's Earth or their last chance before they go on into something else, and they hang out and talk with each other. So yeah, I wonder if this Commander Video lookalike is dead, or if you're it. I don't know.
I think the line in the presentation was "the dead mingle with the living," which Mingle definitely says to me that there's going to be some potentially sort of heavy petting going on.
Funny business.
Or at least implied
no.
heavy petting.
Can I kiss Commander Video?
Who wouldn't?
Potentially.
My God. Where would you kiss him?
This is getting very intimate.
It doesn't have any features.
I actually was really intrigued by this game. I think it just had an art style that kind of screamed, like Danganronpa or 999, like any of those like graphic visual novels, and I was hoping it was going to take more of that direction, and maybe there still will be some intense scary parts. I don't know, but I want to at least check this out.
Of course you do. It's a visual novel and you're RPG boy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's me. Gosh, don't tell anyone I haven't finished Chrono Trigger, please.
And then they did this thing where they said, hey, here's an update on a load of stuff we've announced previously, some of which I don't know whether it was announced previously or I just didn't notice, but it was like a couple of things, and all of them are available today. First of all was Garden Story, which looked
I remember this
entertaining
one.
enough.
I quite like that they do this, because when you're sort of showcasing indie games, everyone is battling it out. Like we look at the eShop, there are indie games releasing all the time. And if you're going to bring some back, you're taking that spotlight away from someone else. So I do like that they don't tend to double dip on what they're showing. So this is a cool little precedent to set. And they're all out today, so that's cool. I can't say that this was the biggest one for me, but it looks neat.
Yeah, it looks fine and inoffensive. I don't have any issues with it, but it's also not really screaming to me.
Yeah, I was following Garden Story for a little while, like back when I was supposed to go to GDC, and I think I was like trying to talk with one of the devs or something, or maybe it was getting shown off at one of the indie events there. I don't even remember that, in 2020. And so, I'm really excited to actually check this out. It kind of looked a bit like a Legend of Zelda game, and I think you're running around and like doing tasks for basically the villagers and trying to. I think this is the game where you're trying to like boost the town or like restore the town, and so you're basically just being friends with everybody, but it has like combat, and so I'm pretty excited about this one.
It looks wholesome, doesn't it?
It does.
So the next game, it's called Boyfriend Dungeon, and from what little I could gather from the sheer like miasma of confusion that I had from the title alone, you go about a dungeon collecting weapons and making them your boyfriends, and they have like human forms and something like the opening shot. They have a character I think called Sawyer, and they have like this animation, and he looks pretty well realized, and then it shows his in-game artwork, and it just looks really different. What happened to his face?
I feel like I'd remember a game where you date your sword, but I have no memory of this. Maybe I'm just confusing it with Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I honestly, we've watched, or at least I can say I have watched so many anime that follow storylines like this. It's just this game just isn't really my cup of tea. But I bet there's going to be plenty of people out there that are like, heck yeah, this is awesome.
It's not a bad idea though. Like we've all had games where like we grow an attachment to our weapon.
Yeah.
Like you play Doom and like this is my favorite gun. So why not date it? Huh?
Absolutely. Living weapons.
I could think of a few reasons, but let's not get into it. Let's move on instead to the next game, which was Axiom Verge 2, which is available today. And I'm not going to lie, I knew that because, well, by the time this is going out, I've been playing it and the review is live. It's a great game. I don't want to go on about it too much, but it really is fantastic. Watch the review. That will give you a much better idea. Opinions, Xeon?
I can't believe it actually is here like that easily, It wasn't like another, trailer with like a Q4 of 2021, date or anything like that. It's just, bam, it's out now. And because it feels like it's been a while since we've heard anything about this game. So I was pretty shocked.
Well, this closed the show on, it was like 2 Indie Worlds ago, I think. So it is a big deal. Like, the first Axiom Verge was just one of the indie darlings of that era. So, I'm excited to try it out. And I've had a glimpse at the review. It seems it's pretty good.
I think you'll enjoy it. The next one on our list was Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, which is sort of a puzzle game dungeon crawler, or as I've written in my notes, puzzle game /dungeon crawler.
What I want to know is what do you think about this, John? How do you feel?
All right. So this was actually announced back in the Yacht Club I forgot what they called it, like the Yacht Club Direct or something, like a year or two ago, where they announced a couple of different things. I think it's like where they...
If they didn't call it the Yacht Club Boat Show, I think they're really missing out on a trick.
They really should have. But I think that was way back like when Cyber Shadow, before that came out, that they showed this for the first time. But we didn't see it in this kind of depth. I want to say that this is like right on my street, but I'm not sure if it is. I'm looking at it, and there's a lot going on. Maybe it makes more sense when you have your hands on it, but I'm just looking at it, and it looks like there's so many layers and elements that it may be a bit overwhelming.
That's totally fair. It did, because you basically move around the field and you place blocks. Is that how that works?
I think so. It looks a bit like Wario's Woods.
Okay.
So it's a dungeon crawler and a puzzler, and it's mixing those elements together. I think it looks like it could be really good. I know these kind of games, like they seem complex at first, but then you get into them and it just clicks. I think this could be that. And the versus mode may give it a lot of life. Mm-hmm. I think I need to reserve my judgment until I play it. My first impressions is I'm not entirely sure.
It does look a little bit on the complex side, but I'm sort of assuming that it's going to be one of those situations where you look at it and you go, what the bloody hell's going on? And then you actually play it and you're like, oh, okay, it's not as hard as it looks. I think maybe just it looks a little bit too different and original to be able to properly process it.
Yeah. I suppose too, like the art style's fantastic, but there's so many different, like if you look at it, if you just pause the game and look at one of the screens, there's so many different things to look at. And I think it hurts right now too, because we have no idea what anything means, either. So it's like, it's all of these cute and like colorful sprites that, we just can't explain any of it because we haven't played it. But I do appreciate the effort that has, like, at the very least gone into this title because it looks massive.
Yeah, and it's a Yacht Club game. I mean, we've come to expect quality from them.
Whatever happened to Shovel Knight Dig? Did that ever come out?
I forgot that was a thing.
See, that's what I thought they were gonna show off when they talked about Dig. I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, SteamWorld Dig? No. And then the Shovel Knight thing happened. Well, this is what we got today. Maybe next time, Alex.
Moving on, we have Islanders Console Edition. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh no, this really looks like my sort of game. It's sort of a SimCity-like. And I don't know for a fact, but I get the feeling that I actually played this like years ago, like maybe 3 years ago, maybe even 4, for like a preview. I could be entirely wrong about that, but I'm looking at this and thinking, I think I've played this.
Well, it looks charming as heck.
It does. I like it.
The title got revealed and said Console Edition. I was kind of surprised at the fact that I had never heard of the game before, but I just because I play video games doesn't mean that I know all of them, But yeah, I
what?
Don't tell anybody. That's our little secret.
Zion lied in his job interview. They said, "Do you know all the video games?" And he went, "Yeah."
I just took a picture of my backdrop and I went, "Heck yeah, I've played all of them."
He's even played Donkey Konga.
Oh, but that next one though, that next game.
The next game, my word, has this even been hinted at in the past?
So this was announced at the Game Awards, but the problem is they announced it for mobile, and there was no sign of a console release. So this was actually a big deal. Like people were like, "Whoa, this looks amazing!" But then the hype kind of drained away when iOS and Android showed up. So yeah, this was a known entity, but it coming to console is massive.
I had no idea when they opened it and everything. I looked at the graphics and the characters, and I thought, hang on, is this Metal Slug? Like, I'm not like massively familiar with those games, but they are quite iconic. And I was just like, oh my god, it's Metal Slug. What are they going to do with it? And it's a tactics game. It's Final Fantasy Tactics with Metal Slug. I mean, it's maybe not exactly that, but I'm definitely getting those vibes.
It's like amazing. A match made in heaven. You have. We obviously know that like the Advance Wars games are great, and they fit that tactical style really, really well. And now we just have these like comical Metal Slug characters now in this universe, and I'm almost envious of you, Alex, that you got to like experience this new trailer without knowing anything. Because like the opening shot of them like all in the garage apartment, whatever, like one of the characters is playing on a Neo Geo like arcade, and then there's a stack of Neo Geo like games in the corner hooked up to a TV. Like I want to live there. And like I would happily pay rent. And it was just cool. It was a good trailer.
Thank God for .mu. They've done so much good over the last couple of years. This just feels right. When it was announced for mobile, it just felt like it didn't make sense. Like this was a really high effort game that I would love to play on any console. and I just didn't really want to play on that platform. But yeah, now it's coming to Switch. Good lord, I'm so in.
And look at that Cobra boss. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, stunning.
Then the final of the standard lineup before they got onto the sizzle reel was Tetris Effect Connected, which is the bloomin' Tetris Effect, isn't it? This was a VR game, and now you can play it not VR.
One of the best games of the generation.
I can't believe it's actually coming to Switch now.
Okay, moving on.
So yeah, this is the Xbox version connected, which came out with Series X launch, and it's got the multiplayer and all of that. It's a great multiplayer, but it's not very busy on Xbox. There have been moments where I've had to search for a while to find players, but now that exclusivity has gone, and it's coming to PlayStation, the connected update as well, and also Switch, and it's going to be crossplay too. Though I am noting, in the gameplay, they have definitely toned down the visuals. And that's, this is a pretty demanding game. The original PS4 would lose frames on the last level, where there's so much going on. And I can see they've definitely made the backgrounds a little bit simpler. But that doesn't matter, because the music and the colors, imagine these colors on the OLED. They're going to be amazing. It looks great, and I can't wait to play it on the go.
Yeah, I think when puzzlers and music, seem to blend together like this as well, it's just an amazing thing. And I've only played Tetris Effect in VR, so I kind of look at this and also think to myself, is this really going to be the same experience? But I remember having a great time playing, I can't remember if it's pronounced Lumines or Luminous, but I remember playing that on PSP way back in the day, and just my mind was blown at the fact that you're matching blocks together, and the music is or you're matching blocks to the beat, really. And so I think, hopefully, as long as the visuals don't take too big of a hit, like you're saying, hopefully this will still be a good experience for Switch owners. Because yeah, Tetris Effect is crazy.
Yeah, they're both done by Enhance, which Luminous and Tetris Effect. Yeah, it does.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they're the same developers. And wow. I feel like VR is definitely a good way to play Tetris Effect, but it's not the only way. It really does hold its own, just with the pure visual and audio experience. It's just amazing, and I can't wait for more people to play this. Is Tetris an indie game, by the way? Well, what did Tetris do to deserve being in an indie presentation?
You're right!
That's a very good point, yeah. I do feel that the term indie is being stretched ever thinner these days, which, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. The term indie is a relatively new thing, but, it's fine. It's fine. It's coming out on the 8th of October, baby.
What a month. Monkey Ball, Metroid, Tetris.
Can't beat it. Or can you? Moving on, the sizzle reel, they had a load of games, just quick fire. The first of which was Astroneer, which is a game I've heard of and seen bits of, but I've never played. And
yeah, it looks cute.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's pretty damn good.
It looks like Labo Garage at the start. There's a vehicle driving on a Labo vehicle kit. I mean, there's a vehicle driving on a grassy plain, and I thought it was Labo. It's not though.
Damn, it looks like it's running decently on Switch as well. Which we can also say about the next game, which is 100 Days Winemaking Simulator. And oh my god, I'm really going to show what a boring individual I can be, because I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, you're my first thought with this, Alex. He's going to love this.
For anyone who doesn't know, I like brewing, making my own alcohol, mainly beer. I've made mead as well, and I am actually looking to make some elderberry port in the near future.
Yum.
And I like simulation games, like management sims. I can't think of many games that would really tick more boxes for me in terms of just my kind of thing, without also being Super Smash Bros, which is unlikely. But no, this looks great. It looks simple, clean. It's a perfect fix for Switch as well.
And just to be clear, Alex, as well, just to be transparent, you didn't fund any of 100 Days either, right? You're not a Kickstarter backer or something like that.
No, I saw it again, 3, 4, I think I saw it at EGX one year. And yes, I had a go at it, and I played it, and I enjoyed it, and it was over too quickly.
That's so pure to hear. I like that.
Do you know what else is pure, possibly? The next game.
Slime?
Which is Lumberjack, which I don't know about anyone else, but I looked at this, and I had no idea what was going on. It also was not the next game. I've just got to that point. Before that, we had Slime Rancher Portable Edition.
That's a good name.
It is a good name. I'm vaguely aware of Slime Rancher. I know it's supposed to be pretty damn good. It's available later today.
What's funny is Slime Rancher was in the previous Indie World, and they had a rizzle earlier for stuff that's coming out later today. For some reason, this wasn't in that. Actually, I might be thinking of State of Play. I might be mixing up my presentations.
Whoa, John, you didn't tell me you knew what a PlayStation was.
I'm sorry.
Slime Rancher's been one of those for me too that I've like wanted to try, but haven't like had enough care, I guess, to like play it on a console that isn't a Switch, I guess, maybe. And just those kind of games. Like it's nice to be able to pick up something like this and put in a half an hour, you know, when you're not connected to your TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'll finally give it a go.
The next game was Lumberjack, as it happens, and I can't really tell what this game is. It just looks like you're chopping stuff down, which is fine. Maybe like returning nature. It really is up for like 15 seconds. It's very hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah.
I am curious though. I'm always a big fan of like any game that's like trying to, you know, destroy the big corporation and bring the trees back to the forest, you know, and anything like that is good in my book. And I like the idea of this like this lumberjack bear, which I didn't get the pun at first and I felt really stupid. And but yeah, I like the idea of him like just taking everything down with his chainsaws and yeah, destroying the evil, apparently.
Stolen the name from Rhythm Heaven as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Rhythm Heaven game called Lumberjack.
How dare they?
And I only know this because I googled it to find out whether I'd written it down correctly, and it just brought up Rhythm Heaven stuff.
That's always good, though. It's always good when you search something. It doesn't happen often. When you search something and Rhythm Heaven comes up.
That's a good point.
Next up, we had Curious Expedition 2, which I've heard of. And it kind of, in my mind, it seems to be sort of like Journey to the Center of the Earth type thing. It looks okay. It looks I don't know. It's not really singing to me in the same way as some of these other games. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal thing.
I mean, we've had so many games in this presentation that really were for us, and not everything is going to appeal to everyone. So I hope someone liked this, because it wasn't really up my field.
Yeah, it does look like there's a lot of effort put into it. Like, there's so much detail. The lighting's really nice now that I'm like rewatching the trailer a little bit. But I agree. I fall into that same category.
And then we had a bit of the last item was a bit of a random one. Didn't really expect it for the sizzle reel. Gang Beasts, which I mean, wow, it's 2015 again. Gang Beasts is a game that I'm very loosely familiar with. I know of it. It was huge in like 2015. Reminds me a lot of Human Fall Flat. It looks like it's a good, you know, sort of silly, fun party game. Unfortunately, on Switch, it does look like it's running a bit like dog poo.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Did this come to Game Pass recently, I think?
I think it might have done, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a good game. I've not really played it myself, but you're right. It didn't look like it was in the best state.
Especially, I mean, this game does have some time to still kind of work out any kinks. Maybe this is an older build or something, because it looks like it's releasing in fall of this year or autumn. But it doesn't really seem like a game it's not graphically pushing the Switch, right? So it doesn't feel like, you know, if you stop and pause and like look at some of the backdrops, there's like 2 semi-trucks driving on the highway, and the background is just like green and white, and then there's some telephone poles. So there's really not like there's not a lot going on. So hopefully they fix it up, and it'll be nice to have it on Switch if it's a fine way to play the game.
Yeah, you're right though. There's time to cook. There's still time.
And then we had one last thing. Whoa! And it was a release date for Eastward, which I have heard people talking about and saying, "Oh, I hope they talk about Eastward." I personally know nothing about the game.
I know a little bit about it. It looks, for one, it looks gorgeous. We can all see this.
Like, it does, yeah.
The sprite work is insane, and I love, too, that the lighting seems dynamic. It's either dynamic or they've drawn it in a very dynamic way. Well, like, you see a train go past, and the lights like naturally reflect on the sprite work, which is like really impressive. Yeah, it just looks like an amazing adventure game. And they aren't showing much of the gameplay itself, so that's still kind of a question mark. But the production values, oh god, they seem crazy.
I think the thing for me that has me most excited is oftentimes games, like I'll see a new game and it'll have a fantastic art style that I absolutely want to I want to live in that world and surround myself in those ideas. But then the gameplay usually ends up being something that I like. Either the story isn't there, or the gameplay, it turns out it's like a roguelike or something like that, and I'm just not as big of a fan of that genre. But for me, like it feels like the story is like going to be the focus of this game, and so I'm hoping it has a very just like a very good message to tell at the end of the day. And two, I think even the past trailer that we've seen showed off that you played as that character that has white hair. I thought that was supposed to be the main character, but now we're seeing that there's this other new character that you can play as. And so, at first I was like, is this even the same game? Is this something else? It has to be. It has to be Eastward, right? And I don't know. I'm pretty excited for this. And it comes out soon. It's like in like September. I was like bracing myself for this to be like a 2022 release or something. And when the release date dropped, I screamed. I think just because it's sooner than I thought. I don't have to think about this game for too much longer. We'll just be able to play it. So
September the 16th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this really could be a big deal. I mean, Nintendo's ending on it, and whenever they do that, it's something major. And if it's coming soon, I think this really could be like one of the bigger indie games of the year. I just want to see a bit more gameplay. Like in a lot of these trailers, they showcase the visuals and the art and I guess just the story, which is those are important layers. But at the end of the day, with these games, you've got to communicate like what they play like. I'm not entirely sure they did that.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it as well. Just like you, John, I just want to learn more about it, which I suppose is kind of the intent of a trailer, but at the same time, maybe a little bit more wouldn't hurt. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I hope if anything that if we do learn more, I hope it's just about the gameplay, because the story seems it's like mysterious enough that I don't want them to tell us anything else about it, just at the risk of spoiling things. But yeah, we definitely need to see more of this game.
And that was the Indie World Showcase, the 11th of August 2021 on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, not on the Nintendo Switch. Can you watch these on Switch? I think you used to be able to.
I'm not sure.
I guess you can watch it on YouTube, right? That way, I guess.
I suppose
True.
so.
Yeah. Either way, it's not important. Xeon, in exactly 10 words, sum up your feelings about this Indie World presentation.
Jet Set is all I need, and Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is where I feed.
You're way over 10.
Dang it.
You are way over 10.
Dang it. Well, I tried.
John.
Is it my go? Okay, I'm not going to calculate this. Let's just roll with it. We'll see what happens. I want to date my sword and play video games.
Oh, 11.
Oh no, I was counting on my fingers too.
I want to date my sword and play... Oh, no. I tell a lie. You're right.
10,
that was
right?
10.
Hell
10
yeah.
exactly. 10 exactly.
Well done.
I suppose
Does
I
he
have to do it
pass?
as well, don't I?
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah.
Wine making looks fun. I like management sim games. Yep.
You got one more. Don't you have one more word there you could use, right?
That's why I said yep.
Oh.
Oh lordy. Well, there you are. That's our thoughts on everything that they mentioned, except maybe the hosts being still very, very middle of the road. Nothing against the guests themselves. I think it's the direction, but yeah. I was guests, the hosts rather.
I was in the other room when I just called it a direct. But when the Indie World started up, and I heard them introducing themselves, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we actually going to get on-camera indie hosts again? Like Katie and Damon Baker from back in the day? And I just came back to the screen and saw it was just, no, they're just voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No hate on
it's
them.
Fine.
They're just they're doing what's been written in the script.
True.
It's
That's
easy
true.
to lament like what wasn't in this presentation. Like where was Silksong, where was Sports Story? But they've come out with all these plates. They're like, hey, here's a Jet Set Radio spiritual successor. Here's Axiom Verge 2. Here's Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Here's Metal Slug. Here's Tetris. So with all this stuff, that I'm already full. My stomach it's pumping at the seams. I'm okay. I can wait. They can keep cooking Hollow Knight.
At a barbecue, you don't complain because they didn't have any burgers, because you were too busy eating ribs and sausages and pork chops and more sausages and like those big curly sausages, Cumberland sausages. That's what you do.
How do you feel at the end of the day about this presentation? Like, how does it compare to other indie worlds?
I'm happy. I think it's above the average indie world, but I mean, an indie world is never going to set the world alight like a direct will. I mean, at least a very good direct. But I would say that, yeah, I'd say it's above average. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's hard to compare them because they always have so much diversity, and indies are just known for like giving us stuff that AAA studios wouldn't. This one had a lot of big names though, like Axiom, Verge, Metal Slug, Tetris, a kind of Jet Set Radio. Like, there's a lot of big stuff in here, which I don't think should be the norm because we watch these to be introduced to things we don't know about. But just as a fan of this kind of stuff, there's a lot of things ticking boxes for me, and I feel like this presentation had more games that interest me than most of them do. So it may be like a high 8, I'd say.
I was pleasantly surprised when they started out with Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. I was like, where else are they going to go with this presentation? And it really did feel like every game, even though not all of them were catered towards me either, it felt like they all had a place in this presentation. And it's like with Loop Hero, I don't have interest in playing that game, but I know that lots of other people will, especially on Switch. And yeah, like having, like you said, Axiom, Verge, and Tetris, and there were just so many great games. I honestly feel like this was the best indie world that I've ever seen. And I realize I just stuttered a lot saying that, but because that's a big statement for me. Yeah. And I was really impressed. I think Alex is right too, saying that it's really hard to stand up next to a direct, just because the possibilities are endless there. And this indie world does tread that line of like you guys were saying, what is an indie? But I think this was the most fun I've ever had watching an indie world, because it really felt like every game is something that someone is going to want to play, and I don't mean one person out there. Like, everything felt like it deserved its spot.
Yeah.
So.
I can complain about whether Tetris is indie, but they have literally had Xbox games in their showcases in the past, so I can let that slide.
Well, that's how we feel, but how do you feel? Let us know with a comment down below, and thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you seek out that subscribe button for being a strong, independent subscribe button, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
It's all connected.
In indie world, even you can be an indie.